Hey, welcome friends and family to Oscar Brittain's Not Game of the Year 2018. I'm sorry it's late, and I'm sorry it's not as cool production-wise as I think previous years have been, but it was so fucking late that I just thought, look, just record it one afternoon and just get it out, because otherwise you're going to miss it, and, you know, everyone's obviously hanging out for this video. So we'll just get straight to it. Number 5. These aren't actually in any kind of order, it just kind of bookends things better. So number 5 is a game called Little Bug, and it's developed by Buddy System. I really liked this game mechanically and art style wise, aesthetically. It's really, really cool. It's kind of how you'd imagine someone would have designed a SpiderMan game if they had a really, really low budget and it was 1995. That already kind of gives it away, but I don't really want to give too much about how this game controls or what you're doing away. It does suffer a little bit from small child lost in a dark world kind of indie game syndrome, but I think it makes up for it, you know, for someone like me who's not into that kind of setup for a game. And behind door number 4 is Byte Path by ADNZZZZ capital Z. Sure. This game aesthetically is maybe something we've seen a little bit too much of kind of recently, or not enough. It's basically roguelike asteroids, like the old school asteroids that you would have played on like an Apple II. And you just kind of upgrade your ship in between runs, and it's got this like really addictive, oh, here's just a new upgrade, here's a new upgrade. I mean, you want a fucking tech tree? This game has a father-mucking tech tree. I think it does the 80s kind of like aesthetic thing really, really well, actually. I think of all the games where I've seen, you know, like Super Hot comes to mind with that whole fake console thing. This commits to it to the point that you actually can't quit the game until you like type help. It comes up with all the commands you can use, and then you read through them all and realize that you have to then type shut down and then commit that, and it'll shut the game down. And even then it like does a little bit of a load thing. It says goodbye and then quits. And I really respect that kind of commitment to, I don't know, your aesthetic, I guess, or your tone, your vibe. Number 3 is kind of a weird one. It's Super Seducer, which I just had heard kind of so much about this game that I just assumed that... And, oh no, that's right, I heard that the sequel was coming out, so I assumed this game was really old, but the sequel came out like 4 months or something after the original. But yeah, this game is, if you have not heard about it, it's developed by RLR Training Incorporated. And you're like, training? That's weird. It's because it's actually developed by like a pickup artist. Yeah, I think it got a lot of negative backlash when it came out. It was really big on like YouTube because it's, you know, it's funny and it's weird, and you can kind of screw things up in the same way that you could with The Walking Dead. Or it's that kind of setup where you're just like picking the right or wrong answer to things. I don't know, I think people generally just got a little bit like, oh, what the fuck, this is like a weird thing to make a game out of. But the more I kind of, like, I played it with my girlfriend. I didn't buy it, I got given it as a present. And I played it with my girlfriend, and we were just kind of talking about how, even though it's a little bit weird, it's still just like entirely unique in that there's not really games that cover that sort of a situation. You know, there's something like the closest thing might be something like Life is Strange or like Mass Effect or something, where it's like, ooh, you can romance people and you've got to say, you know, the mechanic is saying the right thing and reading on their body language to make them like you. You know, as creepy as it might be that it's like, ooh, it's, you know, a pickup artist, it ended up being sort of like this kind of quaint experience, because at the end of it all, it's all just like, hey, you got her number, woo. Number 2 is Rim 9000. I actually did ask the developer how to pronounce this properly, and I fucking forgot. This game is great. This game is probably the most solidly well-produced game out of all of these games. It's, you know, pretty basic in that it's just, hey, it's a, you know, vertical scrolling shmup, but it's just the insane level of like screen shake and color bleeding and just all these kind of post-processing effects and things going on, and genuinely like good pixel art as well. Just the presentation of this game is just like really, really well done. it gives this feeling, if I can like be a little bit poetic for a moment, it's this like unbridled fucking raw energy that's just like pulsing at you the whole time. And if you're watching this and you're thinking like, I don't know if I could play this, it's just like too much stuff on the screen, don't worry, there is a focus mode that reduces some of the like stuff that's happening on screen so you can see it. And maybe you're thinking after I told you that, you're like, oh, okay, well maybe I could play it then. Joke's on you, you're watching footage of the focus mode. This is what it looks like without the focus mode. But yeah, this game is really cool. It's like a fucking wild stallion that just, they didn't do that once over at the end of it to be like, oh, well, we'll just change this and this to make it just slightly easier to read or whatever. They're like, nah, this is what a fucking ship going at 10 billion miles an hour looks like. That's what we're doing, you know what I mean? This game, even more than Super Seducer, is like the video game equivalent of big dick energy. So that leaves us with the last one. It's not actually the best. I'm not ranking these in any order, but this is the one that I wanted to leave to last because it's my favorite, I guess. Before we get to that one, I just want to do some honorable mentions and some contrarian mentions. The contrarian corner, if you will. So honorable mention to myself for Desert Child. Yay! Put out my first kind of big game on Switch and everything this year. And yeah, it was the best game ever made. So check that one out. Here's some footage of it. I didn't get footage for anything else because I couldn't be bothered. What else? Passepartout, the Starving Artist. I played that sort of, I think, just towards the end of the year, and it really made me start thinking a lot about like artistic integrity and what my goal as an artist was and stuff. I don't know if it was meant to do that or if it's just meant to be this silly thing, but that kind of strengthened it for me, the fact that some people will play it and be like, this is a stupid game about nothing, and I was playing it and reading into it a lot and getting quite a lot out of it, so thank you for that. Also, if you're going to play it, don't play it on the Switch, which is what I did. No bueno on the Switch. Mega Man 11 I want to put on this, not because I played it, just because Joe, who worked on Desert Child with me and did a bit of porting and stuff, shout out to Joe. I've just got a list I wrote like 6 months ago here, so I don't know why I put Mega Man on the list, honestly. I've just got written here, Mega Man 11 for Joe, so, you know, happy birthday, Joe. What else? Oh yeah, dishonorable mentions / contrarian corner. Number 1, Hollow Knight. It didn't fucking come out this year. Why is it on so many Game of the Year lists? That's all. The other one I wanted to put on here was Into the Breach. I played it, and at first I was like, I'm into this, because I like kind of tactics games, and it reminded me a lot of Disgaea with its like moving units around and stuff. The more I played it, the more I was just like not hooked by it. And I kind of realized that it's because it's got this weird, its whole aesthetic of it being mechs and stuff. But then the designer, whose name I've forgotten, was like talking at, I think, Fantastic Arcade about how he wanted to like reduce randomness and like all these things. But the reason those are in strategy games is to make them exciting and unpredictable, right? They're not meant to make them fair. So when I was playing, all I could think was, when I watch mecha anime or something like that, which I do all the time, but when I think of mechs and things, I think of unpredictability. I think of like sudden comebacks from the, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat and things, and having it be this really fair chess-like system just seemed kind of at odds with the aesthetic and the theme of it being a mech game. And that's kind of why I think my brain had this weird cognitive dissonance of like liking it for being a mech game, disliking it because it was this very puzzle, like it's a puzzle mech game, which just seems really strange to me. So yeah, I just wanted to put that on there as like a little bit of a, everyone liked it, but I think everyone liked it mechanically, and then someone like me who bought it for its thematic things ended up being like, huh? Yeah, that's just me. Obviously I'm wrong, so don't listen to me. We're finally here. Numero uno is fucking Deity Driving by Graceless Games. It's so fucking cool. I don't even want to tell you about it. I just want to you can see what's happening on it. you accidentally lose the giant raspberry of this deity, and then you have to go on this like road trip to find it and atone for your sins and also lower your IQ as much as possible. Yeah, I don't think it really needs an explanation. Just go and play it. It's pay what you want, which can also be $0 if you want. Yeah, it's just awesome. I don't know how to explain how much I love this game. Like, without just telling you things that happen in the game. Go and play it, and that's the end of this video. Yeah, sorry it was really, really late, and hopefully I'll be doing more videos and things this year because I am not as busy. Although next year's video for Game of the Year 2019 will probably be really shit as well, because all I'm doing in 2019 is playing games from 2018 that I missed. So, yeah, I don't know. What are you going to do? See ya.
My beautiful boxes, you're a monster.